Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for these long-awaited live interview series. I'm here with Dr. Jana Haywood, based out of St. Louis, and super excited to introduce all of you to today's guest. So, Dr. Jana Haywood is a performance coach, author, Hall of Fame athlete, keynote speaker, and administrator. She is a decorated educator, athlete, and an author who has been inducted into the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame in 2018 and the Lutheran North High School Hall of Fame of Honor twice. A standout student athlete, she excelled in cross country, basketball, and track at the Lutheran North, earning state titles and breaking records. She continued her basketball career at the St. Louis University on a full scholarship, serving as team co captain and playing internationally. Dr. Haywood holds multiple advanced degrees, including a Doctor of Education in Leadership from Maryville University, and has served in various leadership roles in education, currently serving as an assistant superintendent of human resources in the Ferguson-Florissant School District. She is also an adjunct professor at SLU and presents nationally on trauma-informed education. Dr. Haywood is also authored Move Without the Ball, a self-help book, and co-founded sorry if I'm saying this incorrectly. Illumine, sorry, maybe you can say
Yeah,
it. Illumine
Illumine.
Solutions Group with her husband to support others through coaching and consulting. I will edit that out.
No worries.
So, as we go ahead and jump right in, thank you so much for being here today. I know your time is super valuable. So, we are excited to have you joining us on the BNC speakers roster. And what haven't you done? You know what I mean? And so, super excited to have you here. And I just love to jump right in. So, you've transitioned from a decorated athlete to a respected educational leader. How have your experiences in sports influenced your leadership style in school districts?
Absolutely. Well, thanks for taking the time to have me on today. And when you talk about transitions, yes, I know a little bit about transitions, having gone through several professionally, first starting with my career in sports and then landing as an educator and then becoming a school administrator. And so I like to utilize all of those experiences really because I know that, like everybody else, we're a compilation of all of our experiences. What I was able to transfer specifically from sports are those leadership attributes. And so dependability, reliability, hard work, perseverance, overcoming adversity. And then on the celebratory side, victory, teamwork, um, having some real disciplines around how to reach goals, how to accomplish goals as a team, and how to build effective teams.
I think that's so powerful. It's almost like, from the locker room to the boardroom, right? A lot of these principles definitely carry through. Um,
Yes.
in some of your work with the underserved communities, what barriers to student success have you found most critical to address, and how have you approached to solving them?
Yeah, so really, I named my business Illumine Solutions Group because of this issue. So, what I think the biggest barrier to success in underserved communities are the people really understand the value that's already within them or within the community. And so, being able to do an asset-based inventory of the skills that they bring to the table, pulling them out, kind of amplifying and magnifying those things so that they're attractive to individuals who don't know who they are. And then as we're able to tell their story at a greater in a greater manner and in depth, it just becomes this really experience of joy, of love, and of expansion for everyone involved.
I love that. Can you share a story about, even times that you've maybe gone through the struggles to, be where you are now, kind of going through those transitions as well?
Yeah, so Move Without the Ball again kind of talks about transitions. Sometimes they're expected, sometimes they're unexpected, and we all experience them throughout the course of our life. And so one of those times when I very much wasn't expecting to experience adversity was in my sophomore year of college when I tore my ACL. And so this was something that was happening to a lot of female athletes, but whoever thought that it happened to them, right? I didn't think it would be me. And so I was having the game of my life. I scored 18 points in the first half. I go up for a routine layup, and then I come down and immediately know that something's different. I had a decision to make in that moment whether or not I was going to allow that injury to be the defining moment of my life or if I was going to use it as fuel to get up, to rise and to, get back at it. And so I chose to rehab and return to the court. But I think that's true, in work, it could be relationships, it might be your own personal development. We always are facing an opportunity to make a choice.
I think that's so powerful. I feel like too with like a lot of high performers out there, they reach those points where they're reaching like massive success and it's all about them. But then when they are faced with that point of transition where they have to make that choice, I think it's such a good way to put it. So
Yeah.
that's
Thank you.
awesome. So for those individuals that, may have held also many achievements, and, have had a lot of success as well, what is your advice for them not letting that become their whole identity? Just because, it doesn't stop there, as you have to continue to evolve, continue to transition, from your concepts of the book, Move Without the Ball as well.
Yeah, so one of the things that is ultra critical, especially for student athletes and professional athletes, is to begin to define themselves separate from the identity of being a professional athlete as early as possible. We have lots of attributes and traits that make us who we are. And, a lot of professional athletes have been playing since Little League. And so being able to know I'm social, being able to know I have leadership attributes, being able to know I like music, whatever it is your hobbies are, the earlier the better, so that you can begin to transition into that space. I think as a human resource professional now, what I am doing a lot of is helping people articulate those transferable skills into other arenas that they also have passion. And so, yes, there's the purpose of the court and the field at that time in your career, but there's also a lot of service opportunities or corporate experiences where you can get that same level of fulfillment.
100%. Thank you so much for hitting on that because I feel like, it's definitely one of those things that people they might feel stuck even with that too, right? Like maybe they're even plateauing, but that's exactly what they're missing. So glad you hit on that.
Yes. Thank you.
So through your consulting work through Illumine Solutions Group, what types of transformations do you enjoy helping people with the most to achieve and why?
So what I like the most is kind of my sneaky discovery and exposure or reveal to them based off what they share with me in those initial consultation conversations. And so as people share their life and their story, their goals and their ambitions, often they already have at least a skeletal framework that we can build upon. And then I take them through the Move Without the Ball framework, which really is about naming specifically what you want to achieve, setting up a strategic plan on how we're going to get there, monitoring that plan, and then making some course corrections if necessary, but then continuing to improve. And so, Ben always talks about not being seduced by success. And so I get an opportunity with those very high performers to stretch them much further than they even knew would be possible. And then with individuals who are kind of entering, we're able to look at what resources, skills are needed for them to actualize those goals that they've shared.
That's amazing. Yeah, people don't even know what they're really capable of.
No, none of us do until somebody tells us. And then all of a sudden, that belief in another and the belief in ourselves creates this magical experience.
100%. I love that. So, one of your most sought after keynotes is cultivating high performing teams. Can you give us a little bit of a glimpse of what attendees can expect for that keynote?
Yeah, so if you're in that session or that keynote, you're going to hear a lot of celebration around diversity of skill sets, diversity of thought, and the ability to identify talent just through observation and conversation and then shared goal attainment. And so, what I believe is true is that if someone's been hired, and so if they're on your team, you already identified something that you believe was value add to that environment. And so, what we do is look at through an inventory or through sharing of stories, how can we maximize all of the skills that are available to you as a team so that you can accomplish your goals? I think sometimes teams get caught up in the duplicate skills, but there's something really unique about Jana that Monique doesn't bring to the table. And that's the piece that I want to make sure is cohesed and threaded through the team so that everyone can feel like valuable contributors. And when you're contributing, you just have greater job satisfaction, which creates a culture for thriving.
Oh, that's huge. Again, it's like those little secret things that you're talking about. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, you've done a lot of work with individuals, athletes, students, organizations, companies, kind of all across the board. Can you share with us some of the key factors of why mindset and this personal development is so important at that individual level as you are taking it up to the teams as you're mentioning?
Yeah, so everything we do starts in our mind, and I can't say that enough because people tend to forget that. And then as we're able to bring our body and our breath into alignment with our goals, we're able to really achieve some things that really were kind of those big audacious goals that we thought were outside or outside of our reach. And so, one of the things that I like to focus on when I'm thinking about goal attainment is having a true like blueprint that's outlined so that you can constantly go back and reference that and then celebrate one another as you're on your journey. I think having a readiness assessment is really important as well because sometimes we think that we're in one place when either we might be further along in our journey and no one else has taken time to illuminate that for us, or you might need to take a step back so that you can get really on your pathway to success. And these short, adjustments or pivots can really yield great dividends.
I think it's so powerful. Thank you so much for hitting on that. So I know that, these conversations are definitely super valuable. And I know for those of you that are tuning in or catching the replay are taking a lot of notes here because I know Dr. Jana Haywood's dropping so much gold for you guys. However, if you do nothing with it, it could all be for nothing. So as we are moving here through Q2, what kind of action steps would you recommend for these athletes, professionals, business owners, or executives to do today as it relates to moving closer towards their goals?
Well, this question is perfect because I've been pondering a lot for my own personal development and definitely for my clients. I think that one of the things that we discover in quarter 2 is one of the biggest culprits against advancing in any culture, which is complacency. So I would encourage everyone to go back and assess the goals that were set in quarter 1 when you were like on fire and everybody was saying
Mhm.
their one word or it was plastered
Yep.
everywhere. And take time to celebrate the successes because I'm sure there have been some, but also to kind of go through that start, stop, continue protocol. So, what is it that we're not doing that we probably should begin immediately? What are the things that we need to abandon because it's not yielding the results that we want? And then, what are those things that have already shown, that they're going to pay off if we continue doing them throughout the course of the year?
Oh, 100%. I'm so glad you hit on that because I feel like people just sleep on Q2, honestly.
Yes, you get to coasting, right? So you kind of feel like this is how it's going to be, but there's still an opportunity to have some major breakthroughs in quarter 2, 3, and 4.
100%, 100%. Well, thank you so much for sharing, so much of your advice and tips and a bit of your story today. It's been so inspiring just to learn more about you, and I'm sure our viewers are learning a lot from you as well. So, for those of you looking to book Dr. Jana Haywood for an in-person or virtual speaking engagement, please feel free to DM us here or visit our website at bncspeakers.com. She is available to speak on the following topics: leadership development, personal development and well-being, cultivating high performance teams, which we got a glimpse of today, women's empowerment, staff development for educators, building high impact cultures. And we'll also have more information linked about her book and her consulting company here as well. So you can definitely get in touch with her. So before we wrap up, any final thoughts from you?
Well, I want to just say thank you again for taking the time to let me share a little bit of my story. And as I end all my conversations, I want everyone to keep moving.
I love that. Well, couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you so much for everyone watching this. Please let us know your thoughts and feedback as always, or if you have additional questions, or if you'd like for us to bring her on again in the future, because I know we've only scratched the surface, but I know her time is very valuable. So we're super grateful for you to be here today. And I hope everyone has a wonderful and fantastic start to your week. See ya. Okay.